on the third listing I answered. The apartment was a decent 2-bedroom in a quiet building near the river, and after 3 months of living alone and watching the rent eat half my paycheck, I needed someone reliable. Most applicants were disasters. One guy showed up smelling like a brewery. Another brought a cat he forgot to mention. Then Alex arrived. He was early. He stood in the doorway with a single duffel bag, clean sneakers, and a polite smile that never quite reached his eyes. He answered every question the same way, calm, measured, almost rehearsed. Yes, he worked nights at a data center. No pets, no parties. He paid the security deposit and first month's rent in cash, counted it out in front of me, and moved in that same afternoon. Within a week, the place had never looked better. Dishes vanished from the sink before I could wash them. The bathroom stayed spotless. He was quiet as a shadow. No music, no late night calls, no friends over. Rent appeared in my account 3 days early every month. I started telling people I'd finally lucked out. The perfect roommate. Then the small things started. I never saw him eat, not once. The fridge stayed mostly empty on his side. Sometimes I'd hear the microwave at odd hours, but when I checked, the plate was always clean and unused. One night I came home past midnight and found him standing in the dark hallway outside his room, perfectly still, facing the wall. He didn't turn when I flicked on the light, just said in that even voice, "Couldn't sleep," and stepped aside so I could pass. Another time I woke at 3:07 a.m. to the soft sound of movement. I cracked my door and saw him in the living room, standing with his back to me, arms hanging at his sides. He wasn't rocking or shifting his weight the way people do. He was motionless, the way furniture is motionless. When I cleared my throat, he turned, smiled that same polite smile, and asked if everything was all right. I started sleeping with my door locked. The real break came on a Thursday, when he said he'd be working a double. I waited until the building was quiet, then used the spare key he'd given me for emergencies. His room was as orderly as the rest of the apartment. Bed made with military corners, desk clear except for a single black notebook. I opened the closet. Behind the neat row of identical dark shirts hung something that shouldn't have been there. A translucent, wrinkled membrane the size of a person, still faintly damp, folded carefully over a hanger like a discarded raincoat. It had the texture of wet paper and the faint smell of salt and something older. When I touched it, it felt warm. Under the bed, I found the rest of the notebooks, dozens of them, filled with dense, looping symbols that looked almost like writing, but formed no alphabet I recognized. Some pages had diagrams, human outlines with lines radiating outward, annotated in the same alien script. One notebook was different. The last few pages were in English, blocky and careful, as if written by someone still learning the shapes of letters. Host remains cooperative. Observation period extended. Replacement memory nearly complete. Do not let the current form degrade before transfer. I was still reading when the front door opened. Alex stood in the doorway of his room, coat still on, duffel bag in one hand. He looked at the open notebooks, then at the thing hanging in the closet, then at me. The polite smile was gone. "You weren't supposed to see that yet," he said. His voice was the same, but something underneath it had stopped trying to sound human. The air in the room grew heavy. His skin began to loosen at the jawline, then at the wrists, sliding in soft folds the way the membrane in the closet did. Underneath was something pale and jointed wrong. Too many angles, eyes that reflected the light like wet glass. He didn't lunge. He simply stepped forward, shedding the last of the borrowed face the way a snake sheds skin. I backed against the wall. The notebooks scattered across the floor. The truth, the thing that had been Alex said, almost gently, is that you were never looking for a roommate. We were looking for a place to wait. And you were the quiet one, the careful one, the one who wouldn't notice until it was almost finished. It reached for me with a hand that was no longer a hand. I still live in the apartment. The rent is paid on time. The place stays clean. Sometimes, late at night, I stand in the dark hallway and listen to the quiet, and I never, ever open the closet.